Hey color theory students, I wanted to make one more video because there was some confusion last time, not just about the borders issue, which there are no borders. I was mistaken in that other video. Um, that's just the way that thing printed out and I forgot, so apologies there. Anyway, no borders. This is 15 by 20. This week you're going to be planning your light pencil designs on scratch paper and you're going to want to make them to scale. Um, a student asked me if there could be examples. I mentioned that I had a bunch of examples in the classroom, and then I recalled that I changed the project. So I made the color systems more succinct, and I took some of the systems out that were very hard to explain. Because we're online, I simplified. So it would do me no good to show you those, even if I could get them and take pictures of all of them. We're doing things a little differently. Also, we didn't do the wheel the same way on that project. We did rows with a whole different thing. So I was worried that if I put examples of student work, it wouldn't make any sense. There is examples on everything else. There are examples on everything else, but I wanted to make sure that was clear. That's why I don't have that. But I added an example on the top of the module. That 4 more examples of color systems that that you're going to put on here with the wheel, and also just ideas for design. Those are all pretty solid designs. They use the space well. They broke up the negative space. All of those things. We want overlap. We want interesting movement throughout. And remember, you can tie all these together, or you can do them individually, or tie just these and these, or they can be completely separate. So by doing this little thumbnail, it'll help you measure out your board. This is 20, this is 15, like all of your boards. Over here with the wheel, you're going to have 10 here and 15 here. So the wheel section is 10 by 15. Same with over here. This is 10 and 15. These vertical parts are 7.5 each. These horizontal sections are narrower, they're 5 each. So if you measure that out and do a little thumbnail, that's really helpful. And then once you get a sense of that, you can even start to sketch how this might flow if you're doing it together, or just ideas for it. You know, just kind of planning a general system that you might want to use. But after that, you want to switch to larger thumbnails. Don't mind this, that's on the other side. It's just scratch paper. You can do this on scratch paper. And I made this to scale. This is 7.5 and 5. So when you're doing your designs, you're not going to make a square or a long rectangle. You want it to be exactly the size and scale of the ones that you're going to do there. And you can then refer to this to help you decide on a design. I might like this one, but not decide to connect them. So I will transfer this design over here. And it doesn't have to be exact, but it helps me get a sense of a sketch, because you're going to turn these in with the class by posting them, and we're going to talk about these on Friday. This project is not due until the 25th. Let me make sure here. Okay, so we're doing the designs due. Yeah, you got 2 weeks. Super cool. All right, so you have the 25th. These are due on the 25th. Completed, not just the sketch. The sketch is due Friday. Then you have 2 weeks to complete the entire project. If you move on this week because you have your supplies and you want to start painting, labeling first, then take pictures because you need to post your stages. All right, so when you're doing a design, you want to make sure you're engaging the positive and the negative space. Overlap is key. I went over this in the other video, but just reiterating. Going off the edges is super important. The worst thing you can do is what's called awkward moments. This is an awkward moment. You never want something to hit the point of the perimeter. Another awkward moment is this. Another awkward point. When this happens, you have two options. You can either overlap one or the other, or give it some room, give it some space so that it flows naturally. Now, when you have 1, 2, and you add 3, you're creating eye movement. Now, you see how I varied the direction. It's very strategic. You're controlling how this person is viewing this, and I'm going to add a little one there to really emphasize that movement. Now, these shapes might not go now with these. The circle I need to repeat because you don't want to have something all on its own. So I'm going to make this more circular to mimic this. Now, when you go to a corner, you don't want to go like that. You know why? Then you have a uniform triangle. It chops off. It has nothing to do with anything. So if you want things to go off the edge, make sure that triangle is not the same in height as width. And you can even fill this in while you're doing your doodle. You can even use colored pencils as you start to plan your system. Colored pencils are really great to use. And then look how there's this little bit of negative space there that I can... Now I'm starting to look at ideas for values. Now this hits a little weird. I'm going to break this shape up a little and make this shape a little bit more like those. Get rid of this edge. That doesn't look good. And then I'm going to create some kind of an anchor in the back. This is a drawing skill that you want to have. Whenever you add a large anchor to the back of something, you not only instantly create depth, but you are able to break up the space and give an anchor to all the other small objects. I'm not a fan of erasing. I'm just doodling, and as you get closer to what you want, just start pressing more or switching to a pen or switching to a... See, here, instead of erasing here, I don't like this. I'm just going to go darker and see if I can get a better medium size. Because remember, the goal of a design is unity with variety. So you want to have a lot of similarity, but differences in shape and placement. Because this is a weird thing like this, I'm going to break this up too. You can't go wrong with continuing to repeat things. Change angles. Let's switch that. It's very intuitive. And we're going to go over what you do on Friday. And you want to look at it and go, what's working, what's not working? This is not working. So you see how I'm not thinking about what it is? Now, if I want it to be something, I could turn it into leaves or fruit, but don't make any lines in the middle because we're not doing lines, we're doing shapes. Lines are going to take too long. Patterns aren't going to work. And then I might go, you know what? Forget this. I don't like this at all. I'm going to turn it sideways and do something else. Maybe this one I'll do something more geometric. Repetition, variation in size, controlling eye movement, overlap off the edges, balance. You don't want a bunch of nothing over here and a bunch of stuff over here. I'm going to make a big one as an anchor. It can be vertical or horizontal. You can do different on different ones. See, already this design to me is flowing better than this. So I might redraw this somewhere else. But once you get your general plan, on these you're going to pick which color system you're going to do with it. Let's say I'm doing analogous. So let's say I'm doing blue, blue-green, and green. I'm going to make it on here blue in the back, and then maybe somewhere else I'll do blue plus white. Because remember, you have the option of mixing white in. Not white by itself, no black allowed anywhere, no gray anywhere. But you're able to mix white into colors, especially dark ones, to make them jump up. We don't want everything to be the same value. That's another way to have variety. Now I got to have green So maybe like this one, I'll add green plus white to this one. And somewhere else, here's my blue back there. Somewhere else I'll do pure green. Now what do I have left? I need blue-green. Now I have to put blue-green somewhere else. I can't just have this without the blue-green. Let's see, blue, blue, green, blue, green. And then what you want to do is figure out how this balances. That's where markers and colored pencils come in. You can start planning your system. Green, 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 white. Now I have 1, 2, it gets kind of hung up. So I'm going to add one more. Make sure it goes out the edge. And I'll do a regular green. So I got green, green plus white, green. Feel pretty good about green. Then I'm going to look at my blues. You're not going to get exact with marker, but this is going to be dark blue, which means just out of the tube blue. But this is going to be blue plus white. And if I want to see what that dark blue would look like, I can make it a darker value, so at least I can see what the values might be in the background, because I don't want them blurring together, and you don't want one touching the other. You're not going to separate these with line. So if I have blue here, I can't have blue here. I can have blue plus white here, but you don't want them touching. So see, now I'm getting a sense of how this might work. And I want you to write on the side or somewhere that this is an analogous color scheme and that your choice is blue, blue-green, and green. And remember, there's 4 systems. We're doing analogous, primary, complementary, and split complementary. So each thumbnail that you submit, you're going to take a picture and post this on the design area that says discussions. And I'm going to write on there, submit your pencil designs here, so that Friday we can talk about them. So again, I realized the project's different. I can't bring the ones from school. It won't work anyway. But little thumbnails, that's the goal, that's the plan, that's what to do. And I would appreciate it if you include the ones you're getting rid of, because it gives us something to talk about. Why is it working? Why is it not working? And you want to resolve all of this before you start painting. And I did ask the people who are determined to start painting to send these in early this week so that they can be approved, including how you label. And you're going to do, when you do, you're going to do this. Wherever blue is, you paint it out of the tube, and then you paint it over here, wherever your labels of blue are. It's very strategic. Don't try to paint the whole wheel and then fill in it. It's just silly. So you're going to put your blue and then come over here and go, okay, not the blue plus white. You're going to do that later. Just the pure ones. So you fill in the blues here. If you have blue here, you know, it's in the other video, but I just wanted to reiterate this to clear up what you're doing and what I want to see. It can be a mess. It can be several rejections. Want to make sure you know these color systems and are planning how you might do them before you start painting.